Hi, everybody. Gary Sinclair from Indianapolis, Indiana, where the Indiana Pacers are headed to the basketball NBA Conference Finals for the second year in a row. Now, if you're from Cleveland, who they defeated in 5, or Milwaukee or somewhere else with a struggling pro team, you're about to go back to scrolling, right? Hey, don't do that. Just stay for a minute, will you? Because I understand the pain of a team not making it again. Yeah, for crying out loud, I grew up as a Detroit Lions fan. Go figure, right? And while the other Detroit teams, the Tigers, the Red Wings, and the Pistons would infrequently toy with us for a year or two, and yeah, they'd win something, like the World Series, we knew we'd soon return to playoff purgatory. And I think that's where we might be today. But I digress. Back to the Pacers. You see, the Pacers have had an amazing year, and it's not over yet. And they're now getting a little more press and some general notice. That's pretty good. But you know what? They aren't usually the first story on SportsCenter, and often they're not any story. Thankfully, they're getting a little more good press, but for some reason, the media doesn't seem to care about a team from a small market, and they tend to imply at times that the Pacers, their success comes from poor officiating. They were just lucky, or the other teams lost some key players, or whatever. Excuses. Nonetheless, for those of you keeping score at home, the Pacers are this year teaching the rest of the league, the fans, and even those who don't follow sports much, that they deserve another look. In fact, I'm pretty convinced that Indiana and others like them have several key components and character qualities in their basketball playing that are keys to their success. They're ones that have outcome that could help any of us in our home life, maybe work, or just life in general as we're pursuing pretty important goals. So I don't have all of the possibilities, but let me suggest a few that seem to stand out, particularly in these last playoff series. One, the Pacers practice and they play as a team. Yeah, there are some who have been and will continue to shine a bit brighter, a little more talented than the rest, but the pursuit of scoring and winning with the Pacers never falls to only one or two players. Nope. They got bench players who would be starters on a lot of teams. They're stars. Yeah, they're stars out there some of the time, but they regularly help others score instead of themselves, now and then to a fault, but that's a coach's deal. In a similar way, our team, as Christ followers, believers, is our church, the local one, and the universal church. It's all Christ followers around the world. See, we need each other just like the Pacers need each other in their games. Even if there are some fringe views and preferences that we don't all agree with, so what? We got to focus on the basics together. And then after a win, our praise must be more for God, of course, and each other than us. And the Pacers live that. Listen to some of their interviews post-game. Well, second, the Pacers have a great coach who they trust and listen to. But their coach also gives them the freedom to use their talents, make key decisions, and play within their ability. Apparently, he didn't used to do that, but he's come around. Well, as Christians, our coach and model, Jesus, does the same, and we must go along with that and embrace it. He's given us talents as well. He wants us to develop and use them. He wants us to practice them, make them better. And then he gives us some freedom to be creative as long as we stay within the vision and guidance, the wise guidance of the coach. Well, third, the Pacers know that the season is long and that the goals aren't reached in a day, a week, or a month. Many of you know the Pacers had a terrible start this year. It would have been easy to give up and play for next year, but how they responded is pretty cool. They made small steps at each juncture of the year, but they gave big effort, game after game, even with teams that weren't very good. You see, they have one of the top win-loss records since the All-Star game. In a similar way, life can be discouraging for us. We can have a tough start. Or we might be in the middle of a bad start, so to speak. Our season is long, too. Life is long. In fact, it's a lifelong season when you follow Christ, but there are victories to enjoy all along the way. See, sometimes we're going to win a struggle early on, and it'll be over. But much of the time, it's not going to happen until the fourth quarter or maybe a last-second shot by Halliburton or somebody like that. Then we get the victory, and then sometimes we don't win. And that's part of the deal, too. It's okay. You see, God's still cheering us on all along the way. He's using the team's talents to try to pursue the best outcome for us, for the people around us, whatever time it takes. We got to live with that. It may take a while. Finally, the Pacers lovingly challenge and encourage each other. You know, one night, one player's really on. They're hitting everything while others struggle. Then another night, it's totally reversed. But they call each other out. That may hold each other back from doing something stupid and hurtful, too. Teams need to have that kind of mentality, using some tough love and words of life that may sting, but also patting a fellow player on the back and saying, way to go, when it's just not their night anyway. They're still friends, even though friendship needs to be tough at times. They still love each other, and we have to do that as well. I don't know how much the Indiana teammates socialize, away from practices and away from games, but it sure appears that they must do that some. In fact, I think they're living out, maybe unintentionally, Hebrews 10:24, where it says, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on to love and good deeds. Let us encourage one another." The church has got to do the same. And sometimes we're not very good at that. So if you're a Pacer fan or not, and you should be, there are life and faith lessons to be learned from most of them and any other winning team. And as Christians, we shouldn't have a better coach or purpose or trophy to hold on to than ours. We just don't. And I wonder who our heavenly coach is rooting for in the playoffs. Or maybe God just wants to see a good game. Think about it. Check out the games this weekend. Talk to you soon.